On today's episode of Southern Character, I am joined by Louisiana basketball legend Randy Livingston. Randy is the head coach of the Newman School basketball program, as well as the founder and head coach of LivOn Basketball, which competes in Nike's premier elite youth basketball league. Through the game, Randy has experienced multiple lives, both domestic and abroad, as a player and coach at all three levels: high school, college, and professional. Randy believes that his legacy is to make a positive impact on the lives of aspiring prep athletes and their families. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Thanks for listening. Welcome to Southern Character. I am your host, James Lewis, and I am here tonight with my high school classmate, teammate, and friend, Randy Livingston. Randy, thank you so much for joining me tonight.
No, thank you. It's a pleasure. Anytime.
I know it's been a long day, man. You're in town with your basketball club, LivOn Basketball, for the EYBL Session 2. Why don't you tell our listeners what EYBL stands for? So
EYBL is Elite Youth Basketball League. It's put on by Nike. It's it is the premier. It's the best basketball league. That if you want to become a professional basketball player, the competition here is second to none. The way the whole setup is first class. Nike does an incredible job of, accumulating as much talent as it can, but really it's about programs that have directors that are entrenched in basketball. I mean, here it is. You have Boo Williams, who runs his AU program out of Virginia, who's had Allen Iverson, Lonzo Mourning, J.J. Redick, Joe Smith, all go through his program. He's 80 years old, and he's still coaching.
That's unreal.
And so, it's really basketball lifers that dedicate their self to the game of basketball, but to young men, to give them opportunity to really enhance their basketball career, whether it be in college, whether it be professional, but just raising young men and making sure they have a opportunity to get exposure to make a difference in their life. Some of these kids are first generation college players that may go to get a college education.
Like the first person in their family that's ever been to college.
Yeah, so it's a unique experience, but this is the creme de la creme. They have this thing down to a pat. We have our directors meetings in the fall, and some of the stuff that's discussed and where we're going with basketball is truly amazing to see and just amazing to be a part of. So Nike, kudos to Nike. They know what they're doing, and the competition is fierce. I mean, you have kids and players from all around the country, from LA to Seattle to New York. There's 2 or 3 different teams, Boston. Then you have all the Southern teams, Louisiana, Texas. John Lucas runs a team called JL3. And then, for me to be involved, I'm just following the track to the guys that did it for me. When you have mentors, they usually say you become who your mentors are. And I had great mentors in basketball, and they helped me out. So this is just my, giving back. Every day I go home, on the weekend, my wife looked at me like I'm crazy. She's like, what the hell are you doing? But at the end of the day, if I know I can help one young man further his career in basketball and show him a better way, it means a lot to me.
Yeah. So let's walk that back a little bit. You've been around basketball your entire life. I mean, is that a fair statement?
Yeah, fair statement.
So grew up in New Orleans, right? Yep. Calliope
Housing Projects. Yep. Third Ward, Master P, all the guys, all the Cash Money, No Limit guys.
Cash Money.
That area.
Yeah, they're getting back. They're coming back together for Essence Festival. I saw that the other day. Cash
reunion,
Money.
No question.
Okay. So you grew up in New Orleans, in and around the game of basketball. And, so growing up, so you come from a family of, it's 4 of you, right? It's Ronald, you,
LaMonica and Jessica.
So Ronald was your older brother.
Older brother.
So when you were growing up, were you always better than Ronald? Were you always trying to take him down?
Yeah, for sure. To be honest with you, I had a cousin that played football who was a heck of a football player. Probably was better than Marshall Falk in high school.
Really? Okay.
And so he got us into youth sports. we always wanted to be like him. So he played football, so I started playing football.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the world is just weird. I got into football, broke my collarbone, and then my oldest son broke his collarbone a week ago. So that's how I got indoctrinated into sports.
Okay.
Then Ron played, my oldest brother played football a little bit. He was a little thin, so I don't know if he lasted so long. And then he was better at basketball when we were younger.
Right.
And so as a younger brother, you have the brother you play one-on-one. He'll always kick the ball, make you go chase it. You couldn't beat bigger brother. But, I think for me, my drive playing sports and playing basketball was just to be better than him when I was younger. That was just my goal. It wasn't like to be an NBA player. Football was my first passion, still is to this day. But to try to be better than big brother, that's the little push that I needed. Mm-hmm. And once I was able to, beat him a few times and then make him chase the ball all over the lot, that was a wonderful feeling. But it's amazing how that little motivation you get come from sources that you wouldn't really necessarily think of. But a lot of us have old brother, and the bigger brother usually beats up on the little brother.
Right.
And so, you have to earn your stripes, as they say. And so that was, the motivation that I need. I always wanted to be better than him. And that was my push that I needed to really get delved into basketball.
Okay. Now, I'm going to brag on you a little bit because from my seat, anyway, from what I see, is you are arguably, debatably, the greatest high school basketball player from the state of Louisiana ever.
Yep.
Ever. And to put that into context for our listeners, somebody might say like, well, what are you talking about? But just what crystallized it for me, even though look, man, I was there. I was there on the ground floor for at least sophomore, junior, and senior year. Right. I wasn't there for the pre-sophomore year, but to put this in context, like there are two major awards that are given out every year to a high school prep player. There's the Gatorade National Player of the Year and the Naismith Prep Player of the Year, and you won both.
Yeah, won both,
and in the same year.
Yep.
And just to put that, so I went back and I looked at the lists of players that won it the same year, and I'm gonna say some names that some of our listeners might recognize. As LeBron.
Yep.
If you don't know who LeBron is, I'm just say LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Chris Webber, Dwight Howard, Ben Simmons, and Michael Porter Jr. I mean, these you're in this elite class of that. And P.S. because you can hit Control F and search things. No one from Louisiana, other than you, has ever won those two awards.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's amazing.
No, amazing feat. When I think about it, you named quite a few, but I always try to put it in context. There was the guys that you named, but then for me, it stands out as like Kareem and LeBron. Mm-hmm. Like only junior and seniors to win it as a junior and senior.
Correct.
National Players of the Year. Yeah, when I look at my career, I always tell people, high school-wise, I can match it up against anybody. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter if you were center, forward, point guard, whatever. I can match that up against anyone. And it doesn't necessarily mean because I see all these crazy stats that they have and people scoring 5,000 and 6,000 points in high school. It wasn't about the numbers. It was more about the impact. It was more about what you did, because not only I won those my junior and senior year, from an AAU standpoint, I won 4 or 5 national championships AAU and was MVP in all of those leading up. So I had a utopian prep career, and I wouldn't change that for the world. I don't necessarily brag on that, but when people start asking me about high school players, and then I see some of these lists that come out, I can arguably put my high school career against anyone that's ever played the game. And that's special. And you know me, you've been around me for a long time as like you said, a classmate and a teammate. Yeah, I'm not really a braggish type of person. That's not really my personality. But as you get older and you look back, you can say to your sons, to your family, to your friends, if you're in a room, you put in some work, right? You put in some work and you accomplish some things that is in rare air. It's in a class of its own. And I always tell people, if I'm mentioning the same name with LeBron and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, in terms of high school career,
that's rare.
It's special.
Yeah,
it's up there.
No, and the reason why the reason why I brought up those awards and said what I said is because I know you wouldn't, right? I mean, you're a very humble person, and that's, you know, that, but I know you, and I know that about you for a long time. And I remember in high school, it was almost like a revolving door, right? Of coaches that would come in. I mean, I don't know how many times Rick, you know, you just look on the sidelines, like Rick Pitino's there, right? Steve Fisher, Jim Boeheim, Syracuse. I mean, there are just so many.
The late great Dean Smith.
Krzyzewski.
Krzyzewski.
Coach K.
Go. Coach K.
Yeah.
They all were in there.
Yeah.
We packed them in that little gym.
So you could have gone anywhere. And I mean, basically, like every program was like begging for you to come, and you chose LSU. And so what made LSU stand out for you? Like, why'd you pick LSU? Which I'm totally happy with.
It was weird. We just had this conversation a couple of nights ago with a couple of friends.
Yeah.
To me, I was always in North Carolina. Everybody thought I was going to go to North Carolina because that was like my dream school. Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget, I had the conversation. I think it came up because we was talking about Grant Hill, who part owner of the Hawks, but he does stuff with USA Basketball now. I think he's the president.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, North Carolina, I'll never forget the conversation I had with the late, great Dean Smith. He basically was like, he wasn't going to start. And if people don't remember, Stackhouse and Rasheed didn't start. And the other guy that went there with them was Jeff McGinnis. But my conversation with him was, if I came to Chapel Hill and played against Derek Phelps every day and beat him out every day, you mean to tell me I couldn't start? No, I was competitive. And he said, Michael Jordan didn't start. So you can't say anything to that. But at the same time, I was ultra competitive. And I felt like if I'm traveling these thousands of miles to come to college and every day I beat out this guy, I want to play and start. And so when he said no, it didn't really like end it, but it kind of did end it. And then Duke was kind of the other school that was close. I'll never forget, Grant came down a couple summers. And then he put me on the phone with Coach K when the Dream Team was playing in Barcelona in '92. Because he had a grandmother that lived down there. I took Grant to Camellia Grill. And the projects and Rosenwall. So that's how recruiting was.
Really?
And we had many workouts at Newman Gym. People didn't know in the summer. And so Duke was in there, but it was kind of too much like Newman. I had enough for the preppiness and all of it. Nothing wrong with it. I just had enough. I had enough of just being around that environment. Although great school, Newman's great school, all that, it just was time for a change. And so basically it came down to, and I've told this recruiting story before, but it came down to LSU in Kentucky.
Okay.
So it was just like.
So Dale Brown, Pitino. Right?
Dale Brown, Pitino. My brother was at LSU in school first, and then he wound up being a manager. But if I'm going to leave and go to another SEC school and got SEC school there, it didn't really make any sense. Coach Brown's style, he was known as a great recruiter. But to be honest with you, I didn't talk to Coach Brown very much during my recruiting. It was Johnny Jones.
Johnny, yeah.
Was assistant coach, who I had a great relationship with. I just like, if I'm going to go to SEC school, I might as well stay home.
Okay.
But I'll never forget, I'll give you a quick story. I've told this one before too. We're about to go into our senior year. It's probably like August, second week in August. I go to Mom, I was like, on a whim, I was just like, I know where I want to go. She was like, where are you going? What you talking about? I was like, okay, I'm going to go to LSU. So she was surprised. I think the first person I did call, no, about 5 minutes later, ding-a-ling-ling-ling-ling, the phone rang. It's Billy Donovan and Coach Pitino. Hey, Randy, before you commit to LSU, I was like, what? Phone bug, house bug? Mom didn't call and tell them. How the hell did they know?
Yeah.
But they were like, before you go to LSU, come to Wildcat Lair night, the Midnight Madness, and you'll change your mind. You'll never go to LSU. You come. And so I was just like baffled. And then like the next day, I called Coach Fitzgerald, our high school head coach, and said, hey, I want to go to LSU. This is what I want to do. And he said, you sure? And I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure. He was like, you know what? If you still feel the same way in a week, we'll have a press conference and go, but sit on it for a week. I won't tell anybody. You don't have to say anything to anybody. And if that's how you feel, we'll go and have the press conference. And still today in the Times-Picayune, there's a press conference. I'll never forget, I had a Nike Force red, white, and blue sweatsuit. Mom sitting next to me, one Peyton Manning's to the right at the press conference. All the teammates was there. And I announced I was going to LSU. And basically the reason for it was Coach Brown was known for recruiting. Everybody gave him a hard time about X and O's, and he let the players glow. I figured I had got all of the coaching that I need from our great high school coach, Fitzgerald, it was time to fly in a different area, kind of loosen up. And Coach Brown was good at letting the pros that he had on his roster in college go. And so that's what I wanted to do. And that made that decision easier because had we stayed healthy, it was the right decision because everything that I wanted, I could have accomplished at the SEC at LSU.
Yeah, I remember that day. It was in the high school cafeteria, and I was I remember Coach Fitz, Coach Smith, and Peyton. I was standing, next to Peyton, and I remember that day like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you. So you go to LSU, and you're there with Ronnie Henderson, right? And just to talk about how good you guys were. So this is, I don't know how many years later. I'm telling you, man, this was like maybe 8 years ago. So 22 years after the fact, I was in Florida for a company retreat. And I was in Longboat Key, Florida, and we're at a restaurant having dinner, and Dick Vitale was there. Dickie V.
Dickie V. So
I walked over to him because he came over to talk to us, and I was like, Dickie V, it's great to meet you. I was like, let me ask you a question. I was like, do you remember a college player named Randy Livingston? And I'm telling you, you know how old Dickie V is. And instant recall. He's like, oh, baby. He's like, Ronnie Henderson and Randy Livingston, the best backcourt duo in the league, baby. What are you talking about? I'm like, it just even 25 plus years removed from this, Dickie V knew exactly who you were.
Yep.
From LSU. So you go to LSU, right? Take me from LSU to the NBA.
So actually, you mentioned the high school career. It was utopian. Like I had from years 11 till 17, it couldn't go any better.
Well, we didn't even mention the 3 state championships that you won.
No question.
In high school.
Everything was when I say utopian, it was perfect. And then I graduated from Newman. You're on your way. I think 4th of July, I'll never forget. We're at the Sonny Vaccaro ABCD camp in Ypsilanti, Michigan, Eastern Michigan. I was a college counselor, and my job was to make sure the guys, I coached the team, and then we get that group to bed. In that camp was Allen Iverson, Stephon Marbury, Sharif Abdul-Rahim. We had some heavy hitters in there. But the college guys would play at night after we put them to sleep in front of the NBA scouts. And so we were playing, and I'll never forget, it was game point. Sean Tarver went to UCLA, left-handed. I knew it. I was always a student of the game. I said, I got to make him drive right for the game point. He made a quick juke right, came back left, cut him off, pushed off, and my knee buckled. And so before I can even get my college career going, I had an injury. Mm-hmm. But that night was funny. I slept with ice on my knee in the dorm room. And when I woke up, it was still warm. So I was like, that's probably not good. And so I go see the doctor at Ypsilanti. He's like, oh, you just got a sprained knee. I was like, okay, cool. But then Sonny Vaccaro walks in there and he's like, no, we got to get you back to Baton Rouge instantly and get it looked at. And I'll never forget, I don't know if you remember Stuart Mimless, his dad, Dr. Mimless. Mm-hmm. I met him in Kenner. He did a knee test. And he walked out of the room. He was so distraught and so in such a bad mood. He couldn't even tell me that I had tore my ACL. And so I find out before I start my college career, I tear my ACL. I go to have surgery in Birmingham, Alabama with Dr. Andrews. And kudos to him. He just retired. His wife made him retire. But me and Charles Barkley and John Smotes and all of us went to his retirement party in Birmingham like 4 months ago. And so, so I started off my career at LSU with a torn ACL. That happened July 4th. Never forget, it's 4th of July. And so July 4th.
This is like 1993. Yeah.
I graduate, yep.
Right.
So July 4th, August 4th, September 4th, October 4th, November 4th, I'm back practicing with the teams 4 months post-op after ACL. Now, growing up where I grew up, I didn't even know what ACL was. But as soon as I tore it, everybody, it was like buying a new car. Everybody, you hear all the stories about people in ACL. And so I was back practicing with the team and was doing very well. And then probably right before the season was about to start, Coach Brown's like, we're going to protect you from yourself. We'll redshirt you this year. So I redshirted my freshman year, which was hard, to have a utopian high school career, prep career, and then not to play for a year. I'm pretty sure, like when we talk about mental health now in this stage, depression was probably setting in, but growing up in New Orleans, you just know to keep going and persevere. And so I battled through that. I think we went to Hawaii around Christmas. I was close to about back where I was. So that was probably 6-7 months post-op. And I'm running on the beach training. Mm-hmm. And man, I thought somebody shot me in my quad. I was running on the beach and it just popped. So it slowed me down. And so that was kind of I won't say the beginning to the end, but it was a tough rehab because I felt like I was about 90, 95 back to where I was in high school. And then when that happened, it kind of set me back. So then a whole year passed. I started the season off. That summer, I went played in I want to say, USA Olympic Festival. I'll never forget. And that was my real first time playing again since I had practiced, but playing was different. Did well there. Started feeling better and better. Go into that next year, redshirt freshman year, killing. I think I was averaging like probably at one point 16 points and 14 assists. I had one 22-point assist game against George Mason. Was doing very, very well. Mm-hmm. We're playing the defending champs, Arkansas Razorbacks.
Yep.
In conference in January of 1995. I fractured the patella in the same knee. And that was way tougher than the ACL. It's just because you work so hard and you fracture. At that point, I did begin to question it. Not that I would ever play again, but like, why? Why
am I cursed?
Yeah, why? Like, what the hell is going on here? And so I remember Dr. Andrews was watching it on his plane. He sent the plane to Fayetteville, his own personal plane, came, got me. That was my mom's first road game. She's damn near sitting on the bench. If the bench is here, she's right here. And then I had my second surgery. And that was the beginning to a long recovery. Those were tough times. Those were dark days.
Would you say that was the hardest moment of your career? Or did you have even darker times?
No, that was hard.
Okay.
From a basketball playing standpoint.
Sure.
I mean, I rolled down my sleeve. I have a hole in the middle of my leg. Mm-hmm. It pretty much snapped in half, my patella. So you didn't know. Like, you just didn't know, if you ever play again.
So how'd you climb back out, though?
Yeah, moms, right? Moms have a way
Ada?
Ada. They have a way of telling. She's just like, look, if God didn't want you to play again, something permanent would have happened. You had surgery. You can get back together. You'll be fine. And that was a long recovery process because it was old school kind of surgery. I'm pretty much pins and wires in my kneecap and straight leg immobilizer for about 2 months. So obviously atrophy sets in. So long recovery process. But I recovered, started playing a little bit the next year. Took about a year, maybe 13 months, started playing, but wasn't the same. Didn't have that pop anymore and never really could get to 100%.
Okay.
And so if I was depressed the first time, I was for sure depressed. And I didn't get help. I'm sure some things were offered, but I'm just thinking I would get better. And that was the way to go. But that was the darkest of darkest because you're walking through campus every day and people asking if you ever play again. Are you okay? We were 5-0 in conference before I got hurt at Arkansas game. And they lost every game in conference after that. So you're valued, you're valuable, but you can't help.
Right.
So that was tough to watch your teammates struggle after being in first place. So that was a tough time because you just didn't know. Speaking of Sonny Vaccaro, I just stopped playing. After about 12 games, it wasn't right. I stopped playing. And I guess the NCAA came up with a rule. You can put your name in the draft if you don't get an agent, and you can go back to school. Well, I started getting better. And I tried it. I didn't get an agent, but I knew once I made my mind that I was going to make it. And I said that to Ronnie Henderson. I said, look, once I leave, I'm going to give everything to making it. And that was always my goal.
Because, there is no NIL, right? At this stage of the game.
There's no. Now,
so if
there was NIL when I was coming out,
what would you have stayed?
Oh, man, I don't know if I would have stayed, but I would have broke the bank. I would have had $1 million a month. That's how, but that's how highly touted I was too, and then how valuable I was to a program. So, Said NIL, that would have been nice. But, that was a tough time. But once I decided that I was going to try to go pro, I knew it was no turning back. And
So how did Ronnie react when you told him? Was he upset? I mean, what's he?
No, he had just come off 2 all SEC years. So he was out too. So, he was, we never got to play again. But, our goal was always to make it to the NBA.
So I didn't realize he left at the same time.
He did leave at the same time. Now, the craziest thing, I played in 29 games in college and got drafted before him. And he was all SEC twice. He went 55, I went 42 in the 1996 draft. He got drafted by the Washington Bullets at the time, and I got drafted by the Rockets.
So you were the 42nd overall pick, and Ronnie Henderson was the 45th.
He was the 55th pick, and he was all SEC.
But, I mean, nothing but love for Ronnie Henderson.
No, Ronnie's my dude. We like brothers to this day. We still talk. But, that's, once I made my mind and I went got proper rehab, I went to Dr. Andrews with Kevin Wilk, who's one of the best physical therapists, renowned. He's the best. I got better. I probably played at the NBA Combine about 80%, but I was determined. And then once the Rockets drafted me, I knew I was going to be close to 100% because now you're getting professional care. So
you go to the Rockets.
Yeah.
And this is like
stories for you on that.
Yeah, no, I please share.
I will.
Please share.
Yes.
Because when I look at the list, right, of the teams, the Rockets, Hawks, Suns, right?
Yeah.
So what I would love to hear about, what were some of the favorite teams you're on, some of the best guys you played with, best coaches you had.
Let's go to the draft.
Okay.
So pre-draft workouts. Bernie Bickerstaff is the GM and coach in the Nuggets. I think Todd Ely was his maybe associate general manager, assistant general manager. They're like, we got 3 first-round picks, all 22, 26, 29. Randy, we're going to draft you at one of those draft picks. So, I'm hyped. I'm like, damn, all this I've gone through, I still have a chance to go in the first round and live out my dream. So the 26th pick come, they draft this big foreigner from Europe. The next pick, they draft somebody. So I'm like, okay, now's my time. 29, I'm going to go. They traded it to the second round. So at this point, I'm blown. This is when I tell all young kids to this day, basketball goes from fun to a business in one night.
Okay.
Very quickly. So at this point, I don't know where I'm going. So thinking I'm going in the first round ends, my name not called. So I get a call from Rudy Tomjanovich and Carol Dawson. They called, they were like, Randy, welcome to the Houston Rockets. That was the best news. It went from the lowest of the lows, not getting drafted, or all of the hurting, all of the injuries, then the draft going from fun to business, not get drafted in the first round like I thought I was going to get drafted, and then they call. Life changed like in an instance.
Who's in the room with you when they call?
I had just family.
Okay.
I had family. We got a hotel in downtown New Orleans, and it was just family. But that was the best call ever because they were basically like, look, Randy, we don't want you to play. You're too valuable this year. We just want you to rehab and get right. So, okay. So what you do after the draft, you go to the press conference the next day. Fly you and your family down. I go to the draft, the press conference. Press conference was great. The GM of the time his name was Bob Weinhauer. Small world. He has a grandkid at Newman right now.
Really?
So he's come to the game, a football game. So Bob Weinhauer, after the press conference, grabs me. Now I'm on a high, right? He said, Randy, we're going to stash you in Europe. I'm like, what the hell is this? Europe? After I just had all this happen?
Yeah.
It was just such a Debbie Downer. Right?
Yeah.
3 hours later, he gets fired. So I was like, gotcha. And then Rudy and Carol Dawson called me, look, Randy, they said it again. We repeat, you're a diamond in the rough. You're going to be here for at least a year. We're going to let you rehab and get better. On the back of my head, I'm like, I only need about 10% more to get like really fully healthy. The next day, they trade for Charles Barkley. They trade Sam Cassell, Robert Horry, Chucky Brown, and somebody else and Kenny Smith for Charles. So then I'm like, I really got a chance now. I could play with 3 top 50 players all the time. Charles, Hakeem, Clyde Drexler.
That's amazing.
I go in the training camp, kill, literally kill. They signed Brent Price to like an $18 million deal, and then there was a rest journeyman and me. Matt Maloney, Manuel Davis, and me were the 4 point guards. Brent gets hurt before we even get to training camp. He breaks his elbow. So like I literally go into training camp and like you couldn't tell me anything. I'm with 3 of the top 50 players all the time and win the starting job.
Wow.
So after all that happened, and it was the only reason I won the starting job because I could make it easy for the older guys. Heady point guard, could pass, can play pick and roll, all the things that they need. I was fast again, so it was great. The day before we were about to go to our first preseason game, guess where that preseason game was? In New Orleans.
New Orleans, yeah. So you're going home.
Childhood Ivory, Avery Johnson.
Wow. Okay.
The day before practice, I pulled my hamstring. And we were doing a walkthrough. And I went, not Dream, not Charles. Me and Rudy did the press conference in New Orleans. We flew back, I practiced, and I pulled my hamstring. So Rudy's like, I know you're going home. We're going to let you play a half, and then you're done for the preseason.
That's unreal.
And Matt Maloney takes over. And I don't know if you know the Wally Pipp story.
No.
Yeah. The Wally Pipp is a New York Yankee. He was playing, and I think he got hurt. And I want to say Joe DiMaggio shows up, and he never got his job again. So then Matt played well with that group.
Sure.
But I played in 63 games my rookie year after playing only 29 games in college.
That's insane.
Hell of a year. Played with top. I saw some of the best basketball from 3 of the top 50 guys.
Yeah.
Each night you saw something different, special.
And now you're coaching Olajuwon's son.
Coaching Olajuwon's son, still friends with Charles. Haven't seen Clyde as much, but I see Mario Elliott. He works for the Pelicans. All those guys was on that team. We had a great team. That was probably the highs of the highs.
Yep.
And then later on, so after that year, I go back to training camp with the Rockets. But all of those guys was guaranteed big money. I wasn't. And so I think the Hawks tried to trade for me.
Okay.
But then they found out very quickly that they were going to waive me at the end of training camp. And so they didn't pull the trigger on the trade. So I went to the CBA. This is when my journeyman career started. Went to the CBA. So I go from New Orleans to Baton Rouge to Houston. I actually did come to Atlanta.
Yeah.
After training camp.
Yeah, I remember you were in
a regular
Atlanta
season
for a minute. Yeah.
Deal, yeah. But then they cut me, made me go to Sioux Falls, South Dakota. So I go from New Orleans to Baton Rouge to Houston to Atlanta, all warm weather cities. And I wind up in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And I tell you, I almost had a nervous breakdown. It was freaking cold.
Yeah.
It was like negative 25 wind chill.
That's crazy.
I stayed in a hotel that was a motel.
That's why nobody lives in South Dakota.
Yeah. It's grown now.
Wow.
But I've become fond of it now. I stayed in a motel. It was minor league basketball where the guys, it was so cold, people had the refrigerator outside. They left their milk, water, everything outside on the balcony of this motel, and you never needed a refrigerator. It was so cold.
Wow.
Coming from New Orleans. And I got indoctrinated into minor league sports. But when I went there, I got called up to the Hawks 3 different stints. And then when it was time to extend me for the year, they called up John Barry, who had played at Georgia Tech. Drew Barry. And then my journeyman career began. 11 teams in 9 years.
So 9 years in the NBA.
Got 11 years.
11 years. Because I've heard you, it's like I've heard you say before, I played in the NBA for 11 years on one leg.
Yeah, a lot of people say that.
Yeah.
A lot of people say that.
And so after that experience, you go down. So is that when you then did you go to Australia after that, or like what? How did you end up in Australia from the
I'll tell
NBA?
you. So what happened was I played on all those teams: Utah twice, Seattle twice, Chicago,
Clippers, the Jazz, the Bulls, right?
And so what I always told myself, I had a plan. I would go to the minor leagues, get called up, make it to the NBA, finish the year there, make a little money. It was good. So I always said if I never made it, I went through a full year and didn't make it to the NBA, I was done. And that year came after I won the G League MVP as the oldest player to ever win the MVP in the G League. I was the NBA Development League at the time. I retired and started my coaching career right away. So I did almost 4 years of coaching in the NBA Development League, 2 as an associate head coach, and then 2 years as a head coach.
And this was with the Idaho Stampede?
Yeah, one of the years was with the Maine Red Claws, which was run by the Boston Celtics, and then the rest of the years was with the Idaho Stampede. After that, I was a finalist for a job with the Spurs, assistant coaching job. And Pop's a great guy, great coach, great leader, everything. And I like him because he's honest. Most of the time when you go on these interviews, they're not honest. But he was like, look, Randy, you're a finalist with Emeka Udoka. He played for me. Ume Udoka, he played for me. I'm going to go with somebody that played for me. I respect that. And he's turned out to be a good coach in the NBA. And so when that happened, I won't say I gave up. My wife, at the time, Mom was getting old. And we got married, and she was like, let's go to Australia. I was like, this is probably the only time I'll take a break from coaching to do that. And we went, and I loved it. We went to Tasmania. That's where her mom was from, Hobart. But I didn't get too far away from basketball.
Right.
I started a scouting service for U.S. colleges for girls and boys. Ben Simmons, Dante Exum, countless other Australian players that are now in the NBA, Duop Reed. I mean, a lot of great players I mentored and coached and helped to get over to the U.S. That's what I did. That was my business. And it was fun. Then I did grassroots for Adidas in Australia, New Zealand region.
Okay.
That was my job. And I really enjoyed it. To go from sports heavy, playing, coaching, then to business side of basketball. And that was an incredible learning experience.
So how long were you down under?
Almost 5 years down under.
Yeah.
Love it. It was peaceful.
Good people down there?
People
nice
were great.
People? Yeah.
Really nice. Food was great. Seafood was everywhere. But I got indoctrinated really heavy into Australian basketball. So I used to do the scouting service. So I used to see all the players from ages 15 and under to 19 and under. I went to the Australian Institute of Sport, made good friends in basketball. They trusted me with the kids to bring them over to the U.S., give them a good experience. It was great basketball. It was kind of similar to how we got taught by Coach Fitz. It was really fundamentally sound, just how Europeans are, Australian. But the Australian girls, there's more value in the Australian girls teams than the boys.
Really?
Because they were like probably top 3 in the world. The boys was like top 7 or 8 or 10. Now they're probably 5 or 4. But the girls were always top 3.
So did you, as a scouting service, did you get more girls in the Division I schools or more boys, or was it kind of?
There was more boys playing, but the girls were more valuable.
Okay, gotcha.
Because they were better.
Yeah.
And there was more of them at a high level.
Really?
Yeah, really.
That's crazy.
Really good basketball.
Because it's so, I mean, here it's so hard to get, it feels like it's so hard to get girls involved in youth sports. I guess over there it's a little different. I mean.
The system's set up differently.
Okay.
They place a good value on teamwork, and they value team sport. They value working hard. They value fundamentals. And so the girls always can shoot better than the boys. I mean, it's just fundamental because they can't dunk and jump and do all the craziness. But so they have to rely on fundamentals, i.e. the women's Final Four this year.
Yeah.
That girl could shoot.
Yeah.
It was
Caitlin
very
Clark.
good teams.
Yeah,
very good teams. And so but the Australian girls were very good. I would put them against anybody in the world.
Really?
Yeah, they were very good. Very well coached, very skilled, big, physical, skilled. They had everything. So I enjoyed my time over there. It was great to sort of get away from the chaos. And like I had been involved in basketball, chasing for so long, it was good to see another country, another culture.
But still, I mean, even throughout your career, right? It's almost like basketball is just, it's this driving force, right, in your life.
Always.
So what pulled you back from Tasmania back stateside? Like, how did that happen? So
to be honest, I had tried to get so many jobs and kept coming to a dead end, right? As an assistant coach in high-level college, in the NBA, for whatever reason, it wasn't working out. So what Australia did for me was got my business acumen up.
Okay.
If you create something of value, people will come get you no matter where you are. And so when I created that scouting service and the LivOn brand pretty much started then.
So you started LivOn while you're down there. Okay.
I started it right after I left the G League. Right after I didn't get the Spurs job, I started it.
Got it.
And what I realized, if you have access to players and you know players, if it's the college game, it's recruiting, it's what they want. And if it's the NBA, it's what they want. Dante Exum went from an unknown high school player, played very well in a under 17 world championship tournament. And I pretty much built him to be a top 5 pick by getting his video out to the NBA teams, everything. I was pretty much, and all self-taught too, James. There's Huddle and Synergy, all of these basketball softwares that do an incredible job. I was doing all of this stuff on Final Cut Pro. I learned that I was not a Final Cut Pro. I learned it on my own. Actually, I'll take that back. My wife taught me. But then I was self-taught by it. And then I was putting together clips for all these guys. All their made field goals, assists, like literally one by one, one-man team, doing all of this production. And so it was valuable. It taught me if you create something of value, people will find you. And so what happened was I had all these Australian talents coming up, and Mike Dunleavy gets the job at Tulane.
Right.
He calls John Lucas, who has an AAU team here in EYBL.
Right.
And he said, John, I need to hire somebody with New Orleans ties and that can get me some players. And so he called me. We handshook on a 2-year deal.
At Tulane.
Come back to Tulane.
To be an assistant coach at Tulane.
Yep.
Green Wave.
Green Wave.
Okay.
I bring 3 teams over from Australia in the summer. So he's like, you don't have to sign till August. You just keep seeing the talent. You can talk to them because you're not breaking any rules, and do that. But in the meanwhile, LSU, somebody gets fired or somebody leaves. And then Johnny Jones, who recruited me, came to me and offered me a job. And the business practice probably wasn't the best, but I told Mike that I'm going to go to LSU over Tulane. And he wasn't too happy about it, but it was a maybe a good decision. I don't know. When I look back on it, maybe not. But he got fired too, Mike, 2 years into it or whatever. And then Johnny got fired. I moved back in 2017 to work to LSU, had a 2-year deal, and got fired 6 months after coming back from Australia, which was crazy.
Yeah. God.
We just had our second child, Joe Pasternak. I don't know if you heard of the name, who's Country Day. He was at UC Santa Barbara. Okay. After I got fired, he's like, you can come here. And I was like, I'm going to kind of take it easy for now. I'm just getting back. It's 6 months into it. Newborn, I'm not about to move all the way to Santa Barbara, even though it's a great city.
Yeah.
They don't pay as much. I'm getting paid by LSU, so I stayed pat. After we got fired, I went to a Newman playoff game.
So
against Episcopal.
Back to Isidore Newman School.
So Mr.
Newman
Graff,
Episcopal.
who I was assistant coach, invites me to the game.
Ed Graff. Murray.
And he's like, Randy, you should think about coming back.
To Newman.
He kind of sowed that seed. I didn't do it right away because I wasn't really sure that's what I wanted to do. But what I did was I substitute taught and coached the 8th grade 1 year.
Right.
And then that started the Newman idea of possibly me going back to coach at Newman. And it worked out, though, because I wasn't sure I wanted to really do high school coach, but I had done pro. I had done college, had a terrible experience with it. And so I was like, okay, where can I be most impactful? High school kids, you can develop relationships with them for 4 years. Go back to my alma mater, who hadn't won in 30 years.
Right.
Yeah,
so it's our senior year.
Yeah, senior year. And so,
1993 was the last state championship that Newman won.
Yeah. And so that's how it all started, with going back to full circle.
It's crazy to me to think. And I think about this too, because you mentioned Peyton from signing day, but when we were in high school, Cooper Manning was a year older than us.
Yep.
Peyton was a year younger than us.
Yep.
So we played with Cooper and Peyton. And then, 3 state championships. Then off to college, NBA, Australia, back to Newman, where 30 plus years later, you're coaching Cooper's son, Arch Manning. I mean, you want to talk about the circle of life, and then go on to win 3 state championships.
Yep.
Which hadn't happened until you won 3 state championships 30 years prior. I mean, that's unbelievable.
Yeah. You couldn't write it up in Hollywood.
Why hasn't Michael Lewis picked this up as a movie yet?
We shot 1 year, and just they're trying to find. And then the movie industry had a little law So now we're trying to find some funding to finish the move. The same lady who did the primetime live piece, Janet Tobias, shot for a year.
Nice.
And we're close. We talked to some funders, and we have a good idea of what will happen. So it's weird. And not only the 3 state championships. So when I first go back to Newman, I coach 8th grade middle school basketball.
Right.
We have an undefeated season.
I remember that.
Yep. And not only coaching Arch Manning, who's now top quarterback prospect at Texas, Cooper's son, John Randall's son, Will Randall was on the team.
Yeah.
So we have an undefeated season. I decided to take over and do that. Full circle. We win 3 state championship. And the ultimate prize, I have my son, Randy Livingston Jr., playing for me at Newman.
That's amazing.
So it's an incredible journey. When I look back at it now during those years and then these last 5 years now that I've been back at Newman, if we want to just start with the big I and impact, I've had a hell of an impact on the Newman community.
Yeah.
And not just for myself, to be honest with you. It's the relationships I still have with former teammates like yourself. They last a lifetime. Like people, the trophies are cool. We can go back and celebrate all that stuff. But it's the relationships, it's the impact that you had on people, how you enhance people's lives when you're with them. I saw it from a player, and now to see it from a coaching standpoint, it's a heck of a feeling. It's one that, like I said, you couldn't even get somebody to write this in a Hollywood script. It's no way.
No, it's surreal. And so I know it's late, and I appreciate you being here, man. So I'm going to hit you with 2 more things.
Yeah,
right?
We're good.
You mentioned, when Grant Hill came to town to recruit you, you took him to Camellia Grill, and that just cracked me up. So part of Southern character, what I want to know is, whether it's a vacation spot, a restaurant, like a favorite bar, what is your number one go-to? I don't care if it's New Orleans. I don't care if it's somewhere like Miami. Like what is your favorite spot in the South? Just kick it.
That's a tough question. I am a seafood guy.
Okay.
If I can get shrimp anywhere, I love shrimp.
Okay. What's your favorite spot to get shrimp? I mean, let's just go in New Orleans. What's your favorite? Man,
I can get a shrimp po' boy anywhere.
Just doesn't matter.
And it doesn't matter in New Orleans. But if I have to say now, is Parkway Tavern.
Parkway Tavern
is a good shrimp spot.
So Parkway Tavern in New Orleans, right
Parkway
off Bayou
Tavern
St.
in
John.
New Orleans.
Yeah, it's a great spot.
Domalices, I could still go and have a good spot. But I'm really, really, really picky though. Like, and when I say picky, I can eat at the same places all the time, every time. It doesn't matter. I still like Camellia Grill.
Yeah. What's your favorite thing at Camellia Grill?
Oh, favorite thing. I'm probably gonna get an omelet.
Yep. Or to get it like a chocolate freeze?
Big omelet, chocolate freeze,
okay,
and a pecan pie with a scoop of ice cream, warm pecan pie.
Look, so if you're not familiar with Camellia Grill, it's in New Orleans on the streetcar line. Been there forever. And it's a diner.
It's a diner.
And they used to be open like 24/7, and they definitely dialed it back. I guess post-COVID,
post-Katrina, they dialed it back a little bit.
Post-K.
But those are my favorite spots. Now,
I want to ask
crawfish
you,
still,
okay,
so I can eat when crawfish season starts. I can throw down some crawfish.
How many pounds of crawfish can you eat in one sitting? Is it 5 to 6?
Easy 5 to 6.
Okay,
not even close, and fast too.
Yeah,
I can get to it.
Do you drink beer or water with the crawfish? Or?
That's the craziest thing. Always daiquiri.
A daiquiri.
Daiquiri.
What flavor?
A daiquiri, huh? I'll get a mix of like jungle juice and pina colada. Okay. With a shot or something in it. And I won't tell you what that shot is, but I can always have crawfish in a daiquiri all day long.
Crawfish in a daiquiri. No, that's
all day long.
That's tight. I like that.
Fave.
Important question about your po' boy. How do you take it dressed? What's on it for you? Do you like
no tomatoes, lettuce, ketchup, hot sauce?
That's huge.
Done deal.
All right. So LivOn Basketball.
Mm-hmm.
You got the club. You're in Atlanta. You're on the road to the Peach Jam. If people want to either contribute or sponsor LivOn, how do they find you? Where do they go?
Yep, you can go to livonbasketball.com, and we have a page set up for fundraising. You can donate for an academic purpose. You can donate for travel. We have all types of options of you can donate. You can donate little as you want to, as much as you want to, and the money is for a good cause. I had a famous Newman alum, Darryl Berger, asked me like, man, why do you do AU? To be honest with you, for me, it's my giving back, not wanting anything back for it. This is my sort of way to give back to the community and support people, give kids an opportunity to live out a dream because someone did it for me. And so this is my charity of giving back to the city and the state of Louisiana, the city of New Orleans. And I truly enjoy it. It's amazing to see two guys that just got drafted in the NFL draft, Brian Thomas Jr. and Keon Coleman, make it. And we always tell them the same thing. There'll always be a coming time to mentor a young man and to give back to a young man, your city, where you come from, because that's what keeps it going. Like that's what keeps the cycle of goodwill, good deed. And, you know, there's an old saying, each one teach one. If we can do that with the community and with the kids today, it continues, goes on. And you can break some cycles of whether it's curses, cycles of poverty, cycles of, you know, no families going to college, getting a good education. I think that's important in the world. Like people, I always ask me why you do it and why you spend so much time in it. Because I go straight from high school coaching. The day the state championship in on Sunday, I'm doing AAU. And it's just for the kids to be able to live out a dream. I did it. It makes me feel very good that not only I can help the kids, but we have coaches in our program who goes on and coach college, become head coaches. So we're coaching the coaches, we're teaching it, we're helping break generation curses in some of these families of these young men in the inner city. And I truly, truly believe in that mission. And so anyone want to donate, they can just go on LivOn Basketball. You can click on the sponsorship tab and all the information's right there. You can contact me at randy@livonbasketball.com. But all the information's right there, and it's for a great cause. And, you know, you sometimes get a bad stigma of all the crazy stuff that goes on. But when I see a Keon Coleman gets 10 million views in 1 hour in his press conference and, you know, Buffalo, it makes me feel good that we've done our part. And we have countless kids that are going to graduate from college that we put in college every year. And it's an exciting time for the program. So we're truly blessed and we're truly receptive to any and all help.
Well, Coach, I got to say it, man. I mean, you have an amazing legacy, and I think LivOn is just an incredible way to continue that legacy. Yep. Infinitely, right? And
that's the name. That's how the name was formed. One, my wife's middle name is Ondine. I'm Liv, and she's the On. LivOn. And for me, all the stuff that I had been through, for me to still be alive and kicking and having a healthy, happy life, the ability to live on is what the acronym in the name comes from. No matter what happens, good, bad, and differ, injuries, you know, addiction, and whatever happens, the ability to live on is crucial for these young kids because at some point they will all face adversity. It's just life,
that's
right? And with everybody in the world.
100%.
So the ability to just continue to move on and continue to live on is vital message for me. And, you know, I really, truly live by that legacy.
Well, Coach, again, thanks so much for being on Southern Character. And I'll tell you what, man, the next time I come down to New Orleans, we're going to get a shrimp po' boy.
All day, every day.
And definitely some pecan pie for Camille Grill, because, that's what I'm all about. So thank you so much, man.
Appreciate it, J-Mo.
Right,
we good.
It.